Hi guys, in this video what we're going to talk about is one of the most important and yet also one of the most neglected issue and aspect of the squat, which is how to rack a low bar squat properly. So if you think this is bullshit, you can just end and close the video right now. But if you want to actually improve your movement pattern of the squat, because it goes from up and down the chain, starting from the racking of the bar, continue to watch on and then you will get to learn something cool and interesting and it will help in your squats. Hi guys, this is Clinton from Technique Matters, and today once again I'm gonna show you and teach you how to correctly and properly rack the low bar. Most of the time people would like to neglect it because if they feel comfortable, or in fact even if they feel uncomfortable, they will still think that okay, low bar is supposed to be uncomfortable, I should just set yourself in this position and then continue to squat. As we go along, the issue starts to come, like if you guys are setting up the low bar and along the way you are experiencing a lot of discomfort like the elbows. So if you are experiencing elbow pain, wrist pain or shoulder pain, that is most probably you are not setting the rack properly. The rule of thumb in a low bar is we always want to set ourselves whereby the bar is just on top of the shelving that you have created by creating the pull down feeling. Okay, one of the issues that I see when people start racking their low bar is they like to set their elbows very high in a way that when they are going into the bar, right, they have to push themselves against the bar with their elbows so high, and then when they drive themselves in, they're driving it in a horizontal manner. So when they drive it into a horizontal manner, right, it is so hard for them to really retract their shoulder blades together. So they feel so much discomfort and they thought that okay, as long as I stay tight. So the idea and assumption that people think is okay, in a low bar I need to keep my upper back super tight. Actually, that's not what you want. What you want is actually to get tensed up. You want upper back to get tensed up. So if you are setting up in the way that I've shown you just now and you are experiencing all the discomfort on your wrists, your shoulders and your elbows, then you need to do a change about it, because most of the time if you guys are racking in this way, you will start to experience problem in a squat, especially when coming up. If you rack yourself in this way with your elbows that high, there's always a force pushing against towards your head and your neck. So what happens when it goes into a heavy weight? You'll go down and then as you come up, you'll grind, right? When you grind, you start to exert force onto everything. So as your legs are kicking, your hands start pushing as well. And then you're gonna push the bar forward and upwards until you lose the center of balance, and then you'll lose the efficiency of firing through the squats in a straight and efficient bar path. Alright, so in order to eliminate this problem, we need to learn to actually rack the bar properly, especially for low bar. So right now, I'm going to teach you how to rack the low bar properly. Alright guys, before we even start onto the live demonstration with Adam, I just want to talk to you and further elaborate more about the difference between a thumbless grip and a full grip. You are allowed to use any so long as you do not alter the elbow positioning, which we will talk about it later. But what we highly recommend you to do is to adopt the full grip, even though there will be a slight clock back wrist, but as long as you fix it with some wrist strap and do not hold the weight on your hands, you should keep yourself in a very tight and tensed up position. Remember, we are looking at a tight and tensed up position, not squeeze your back until you are feeling like your head is about to burst. Okay? If you ask me which grip should I adopt, I will still say, okay, if you feel that you are not confident with a full grip, try with a suicide grip first. Get comfortable with learning how to keep your elbows down and shelving yourself nicely. And then once you're good at it, then you turn into a full grip. Okay? Alright, so right now, I'm going to teach you how to rack the low bar properly. I have my here, Adam. Okay, so Adam, we are just going to do a live demonstration on how to rack the low bar properly. So Adam is just going to set himself up with his wrist wrap because we're about to do the full grip first. Okay? So you see, Adam is a big guy over here. So even big guys like him, right, are able to set their low bar appropriately in such a way that their elbows are queuing and angling downwards. Okay, so first off, I want you to just comfortably grab a grip with your middle finger on the rim. Okay? Okay, both hands. Okay, so what you want to think about is twisting your hand this way. So when you external rotate your hand like that, right, your elbows will start to aim downwards. So you see, downwards. Okay, what you want to do is to bend your arms down first. Okay, more. Okay, once your elbows are cued this way, right, you slowly get yourself in this manner, upwards. There we go. Okay, alright, so you want to go a bit, okay, lower a bit. Okay, so Look at this. He can easily set himself in position. You're not trying to squeeze here so hard. You're just trying to tense up the body and the back. Your elbows are still facing down. Okay? So this is how you set up for the racking. It's so easy. Put both feet together. We're going to stand the weight up. Look at this. He's going to keep his elbows down and then just stand straight up. Okay? There are no circumstances where he needs to flare his elbows up. No way. And in this position, his arms are already locked in this tensed up position. Remember, I'm using the word tensed up. You're not trying to get it tight or squeeze the back until your head is about to burst. Okay, put the rack down. Okay? Once again, I just want to let you guys know, when we set up, right, we have to keep our elbows down this way and then twist our arm to external rotate and then go under. Okay? Do not go across. Go under and upwards. Okay, now we're going to demonstrate the thumbless grip. The thumbless grip is the same. Okay? So all you need to do, see, thumbless. Alright. Okay. So same thing, you want to cue your elbows down, external rotate your shoulders. Okay, then you go under and then upwards. Look at this, nice and easy. There are no way as illustrated previously on how tight and how uncomfortable it is. So this is a very comfortable position, both feet together, and then we're going to stand the weight up. Right, so same thing, the bar is not going to slip, the elbows is still underneath. Okay, are you able to do a few squats here? Okay, we're going to step back. And then look at this, when he squats, right, he's going to keep the elbow in this angle, never going up or too low. Let's go. Look, nice and easy. So the bar ain't slipping at all. Okay, down and up. Okay, back. Alright. Alright. Okay, just now I had Adam to demonstrate, and right now we have a lady. This is Haley. And we're gonna set up for the low bar for a lady. So normally a low bar might be a little bit tougher for a lady to rack themselves under because they do not have that size on the upper body. But it is possible to keep their elbows down while keep getting that tensed up position for the low bar. Alright, so Haley's just gonna set up. Just gonna set up the way that I've taught you. Alright, so you see his elbow is queuing down. Look, he can pull herself all the way up as long as the angle is in this manner. If your angle is like that, there's no way for you to pull through. So this is how she goes. Racking is just above the shelf. Okay, stand back. Look, her elbows are still behind. Okay, come closer. Elbows are still behind. Wrists are slightly clocked back. And the bar is just right on top of the rear delt. Okay? This is just nice. You do not need to go any lower. This is low bar. Anything lower is too low bar. Okay? Okay, thank you. Okay, now that I've shown you how to do a low bar, we have a male demonstration and a female demonstration. It's just trying to show you that both male and the female, they are all equal and everybody can do the low bar correctly as long as you know how to do it. Now I'm just going to pass it on to JJ. JJ is going to share with you an extra tip which is going to help you create that tension so well that even when you're attempting a very heavy squat, you know how to unrack the bar properly so that you don't feel so heavy right at the start.
Hi guys, this is JJ. So I'm going to show you two little tips that you can do with your squat setup that will really help you to optimize your position so that you can do everything that Clinton has previously mentioned so that you have the best chance of getting your squats and not missing any of your attempts. So one of the most common mistakes that I see with people and setting up for the squat is that they think that they want to save energy by setting the rack height as high as possible, and which leads to people having to tiptoe the weight out of the rack. This is not optimal simply because number one, you can't actually get that tight back position, that tense back position, and number two, because you can't use a rack to leverage yourself in a good position to be able to get set up. And what this looks like is a lot of people will then tiptoe the weight out of the rack and there's just no tension in the back at all. So when they start to squat, once the weight is on their back, there's no chance of them being able to create any other tension, because if you can't do it without a weight on your back, it's going to be even worse with hundreds of kilos on your back. Okay? What I'm going to do here is to show you the first important part of this, which is to show you how to size the rack correctly. Okay? And I'll have Adam here that will help me to do that. All right? So the number one, so the the tip that we want to show you here at Technique Matters is basically, we have an Eleiko rack here, and most of the time in competition you will be using some sort of a combination of a combo rack, okay? But if you don't have a combo rack, one of the most important ways to be able to size it right is to make sure that you can clear the lip after you stand up. So this is the lip of the rack, and you might have different kind of hooks and setups in your gym, but you want to be able to clear it once you have set up. The second most important part of this is, Adam, can you just set up for me? And stand the weight up, but don't walk back. So the second most important part is, after you've gotten set up, how you should size the rack is basically, you see how Adam, as he walks into the rack, he's about halfway between, he's cleared the lip, so he's upright, he's cleared the lip, but he's also halfway to the end of the uprights. So basically what this will, all right, you can relax. So basically what this allows you to do is have a good visual gauge of how much space you need when you walk the weight back in, so that you don't clear over the top and then miss the re-rack, as well as to be able to stand up and clear the lip without much effort or much struggle. Okay, so this is how we suggest you size your racks, and how you do it in comp as well as in training. So make sure that once you stand up, you can clear the lip easily. You don't have to be, once you stand up, you don't have to tiptoe anymore. You don't have to do any other sort of fancy stuff to be able to walk the rack out. So another tip for you with regard to rack sizing would be, obviously, if you don't have a combo rack and you train in a commercial gym, one of the tips that I can offer you would be to size it according to where your armpits are. So if you look at Adam over here, and if he stands right next to the bar literally will cut him across right where his armpits are. So if, yeah. So you can obviously see that it is just at the right height for him. So the next tip that we want to offer you for the squat setup is actually something that you might not have actually heard of before, which is pulling the slack or taking the slack out of the bar. So you usually hear that you're taking the slack out of the bar for the deadlifts, but you never think about it in the context of the squat. All right, so how it should look like is, as previously mentioned, you should be going into the squat rack at a bit of a diagonal angle, and then what you need to do is two things. So I'll show you what those two things are. So Adam, can you set up for me? So the first thing that we want to do, and why setting up your rack height is extremely important, is the first thing we want to do is for Adam to actually get under the bar and then use the rack to get the bar tight onto his back as possible. So Adam, I want you to set up, but I want you to push hard into the rack. So you can see how hard he's pushing to the point where the rack is lifting off the floor. So it is not an upward push, so it's not just standing the bar up like that, and it's obviously not pushing horizontal as we've previously already mentioned. So Adam, can you show them the right way this time? So he's pushing in at a diagonal, and what you should be thinking of is, imagine that the barbell is like a rolling pin and your back is like a piece of dough that you want to flatten. So he's trying to really get that bar low onto his back. Okay, so relax for me. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, after you've learned how to push into the rack, right, is to actually think about doing a sort of behind the neck lat pull down and actually pulling the bar and sort of really taking the slack out of the bar and sort of bending it around your back. Okay, so you will only be able to do this if you set your elbow position right. Okay, Adam, what I want you to do now is a combination of doing everything wrong. So try to pull the bar towards you, but with your elbows flared. Okay, so if Adam does it wrongly, where he tries to push horizontally into the bar and retract his shoulder blades really hard, right? So then he has this flared elbow position. and then he tries to pull onto the bar, right? His elbows will actually feel a lot of discomfort, as well as he might be able to pull it down, but his upper back itself is not tense. And you get this really big extension pattern that kind of goes down through the spine and into the hips. So what this does is actually cause you to hyperextend and your abs to be unable to work, right? So then you have that chest up position, which I'm sure is not very comfortable for Adam, and it's also when it gets heavy, you will start to have a lot of issues down the chain as well. All right, so rack it for me. So what we're going to show you this time is the correct elbow position. See, it's a very, very uncomfortable position. So what we're going to show you this time is the correct elbow position. So the elbows are nice and in line. He pushes into the rack, right? Gets it onto his rear delts, right? And then from this position, he is going to pull down and then pull his elbows into the midline of his spine. So if you just set that and then walk. So the elbows are nicely in position, and then can you take a step back? So do the walkout. And so you can see that he has no hyperextension here. His ribs are in a good position, his hips are in a good position, and his elbows are also in a good position. All right. So, and you can see that there isn't a lot of retraction here. It's still pretty resting nicely on his back without much of that scapular kind of squeezing together and the elbows rising. All right, thank you. So you can re-rack that. So at the end of the day, what we're looking for is for the most solid sort of unrack or the most solid setup for the low bar squat position. When you do this right and you piece all of the pieces right, what it should feel like is when you unrack the bar, you will know exactly how that weight is going to move. If you're feeling a bit loose and soft, means you probably have not gotten that setup right. So you need to go back and practice the different steps. So number one, make sure you're not pushing horizontally into the bar, but getting your elbows down, externally rotated, and then going in at a diagonal. And then number two, use a rack to help you to pull slack out of the bar. So push into the rack and at the same time kind of do a reverse lat pull down into, so driving your elbows in towards your spine. All right. So once you've added all of these pieces together, the unrack should really pull the bar and you should become one with the bar. And what this will allow you to do is as you unrack, you will know, okay, the bar feels really light and controlled on my back, and it should give you a lot of confidence to go and nail your big squats. All right guys, so if you enjoyed this video, I really want to give a big shout out to Elevate Barbell Club. And if you're in Singapore and you're looking for a specific powerlifting gym to train at, like, I'm super biased, but I cannot recommend this place enough because not only is the equipment good, but the environment and the people and the things that you will learn just training here, I can say that your powerlifting journey and career will improve way more than you can ever imagine. So if you're curious, you can always DM the Elevate Barbell Club Instagram account, and then set something up to come and train here at Elevate.